Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Here we are.
And Rookettes.
And Rookettes.
This is the Hot Topics episode.
Hot Topics episode? Oh, really? Wow.
If anybody
Naomi's
was
got
joining
something
us,
to talk about.
If anybody was joining us live on our live feed yesterday, they would know.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that. Because to the name of today's show, which is episode 91, is Making the Real Estate Skeleton Dance.
Seriously.
Which, by the way, that's actually a title written by George Bernard Shaw.
What?
I stole it.
Say it again. George Bernard Shaw.
He said he wrote an article called Making the Skeleton Dance.
Uh-huh.
So I took that from George Bernard Shaw.
Oh, you're in good company.
Is it you're letting us all know that you
I want you to know that I plagiarized it, but I'm giving him credit.
Yeah,
it was from George Bernard
okay.
Shaw.
Then you're okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I put the word real estate in there. I put the word real estate in everything.
I didn't think he was a real estate guy.
You wanna play my game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just pick any topic, and I'll show you how not to real estate.
Okay, so Rolling Stones, I can't get no real estate.
Exactly. Huh? There you go. You got it. You know, sweetheart, I love you. I love real estate too. See?
Just like the song that I wrote. I saw a house. She was kind of fine.
There you go.
Okay. We will have to perform
what
that
happened
one day.
with that? We should probably.
She asked if she could sing it, and you said no, so she has a nest again.
That is not what happened, Pete.
Yeah, I
You're
saw it.
making things up.
I
He
saw
saw it.
I saw
Yeah,
it.
that's the problem is only he saw it.
Oh,
the rest of us didn't.
Oh, no, I saw it. Not tonight, Naomi. She backed down. Next time.
We sang it at Christmas.
Yeah, and then she asked the next one. You said no.
He did not.
God, I don't remember.
He
that
said
at all.
maybe not right now. He said,
Well, we could do it again. We should get it in the studio. All right, here we go. Number 91, Making the Real Estate Skeleton Dance. So here's what I want to talk about. Here's the write-up that we put on Facebook, which, by the way, if you're listening to the podcast, go to Facebook, and you can get our stream or our live stream or like our page at Flipping Houses for Rookies. So it's facebook.com/ I think it's groups, right, Em? It's facebook.com/groups and then /
No, but it's for rookies. There's only one R between 4 and rookies. So it's facebook.com/ Flipping Houses for Rookies, but it's misspelled
Oh, then why don't we fix it?
because it's already taken.
Oh, so
Bill,
it's flip. No
it's-
wonder why people can't find it. I
Wow.
didn't know that.
It's faux rookies.
It's faux rookies.
Faux rookies.
Faux rookies. So she's saying that it's Flipping Houses for Rookies, but only one R between 4 and rookies. Oh my God, we can't fix that.
We'll talk about it off.
Oh my goodness. She says we'll talk about it after.
It's
the
not
podcast.
available.
Off the radio.
It's not available.
I can't believe it's been like that. I've been telling people that for like 6 months. I didn't know that.
Well, it's just, artistic license. It's either faux rookies or 4 ookies. Just pick one, Bill.
All right, here we go. So, if you go to Flipping Houses Faux Rookies on Facebook.
yeah, we have street credit now.
Yeah, there you go.
Flipping Houses.
You can watch the live stream there, and the description that we have in there is ready?
Go.
Are you sure?
I want to know what the hell the title is about.
Huh?
That is one long title. Or is it, no, that's the description.
Hey! You're supposed to be on my side. Come on, we got to keep going here. We can't
was
be
just
goofing
stating
around. We
plain.
got to get to business.
All right.
Our listeners want us to get to business, not joking around. Here we go. Worried about not telling your seller the correct thing when making an offer? Or not making the correct offer? Maybe worse, pay too much and get a bad deal because you made... Nope, I'm just going to do it again. Maybe worse, pay too much, get burned later because you made a bad deal. Perhaps looking bad in front of your seller, possibly creating a total embarrassment for yourself to the point you actually blow up the deal. How do I know all this? I've seen this. That's why.
Last night, we saw it all.
Yeah. This podcast can help you totally blow through these phenomenons so you can get out there, feel comfortable, and make deals like a pro. So I'm going to read it again so I don't chop it up, and then we're going to go at it, okay?
Yes, sir.
So worried about not telling your seller the correct thing when making an offer or not making the correct offer? Maybe worse, pay too much and get burned later because you made a bad deal? Are you not confident in what you say when, perhaps looking bad in front of your seller, possibly create a total embarrassment for yourself to the point you actually blow up the deal? This podcast can help you totally blow through these phenomenon so you can get out there, feel comfortable, and make deals like a pro.
Boy, that sounds kind of good.
Sounds real good.
So the point of the skeleton in the closet, so you're all tracking with me, is everybody has skeletons in the closet. So what George Bernard Shaw talked about in his article was, don't hide it, make it dance.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to talk about today.
I love it.
So, Sergeant, you fixed it? Yay, Emma! After about a year, we've been misspelling it. So Emma fixed it. Yay! So you can go to Flipping Houses for Rookies at Facebook.com. There's no groups, right? Okay, so go to Facebook.com, Flipping Houses for Rookies, not faux, for Rookies. Okay? God, how long's it been like that? The thing. Oh my God, it's got to be a year. No wonder why we're having so much trouble. I've been banging at that. Oh, the stupidest things. Anyway, see what happens around here, Pete?
Another Thursday morning, Bill.
This time you didn't make what are we talking about? Making embarrassment mistakes, right? Isn't that what we're talking about on today's show? Look, I made an embarrassment mistake.
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing. There you go. Embarrassment.
Grammar, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, let's get down to business. You ready?
Let's go.
You're going to start the show.
I thought
So-
I already did.
Oh, you did? Okay. So let's talk about last night. Perfect. It was,
Oh.
believe it or not, I made this title
This
up
is like
a week
perfect
ago,
thing.
and then last night happened.
It all happened.
So you tell the
It
story.
all happened.
Tell me what happened, Naomi, because I wasn't there. I missed
You
it
weren't.
totally.
You weren't there. You completely missed it. You should watch the live feed. It was hilarious. So
She turned. We're in the car, and she's laughing so hard she turned beet red. I mean, like beet red. I've never seen her do that before. Now, if you guys see Naomi, no offense to Naomi, but Naomi's like white, like pale white. I mean,
Bill, we call that fair skinned.
Yeah, well, I
Almost
mean, there's
see-through.
nothing. It's not like she's unhealthy or anything, but she's just white.
Mm-hmm.
And when she turned red, it was just so obvious.
Wait a minute, it's white in New England winter. White.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
You can say it's spring, but I don't believe it. Crap.
during the summer, I might get a tan. Might.
We're taking you to the beach.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
So anyway, okay. So I speak to this gentleman. I won't say his name. He is going to make a decision tomorrow night on who he's going to
So
sell
you
to.
spoke to him yesterday.
Yes.
And he says he's making a decision
making a
tomorrow
decision.
morning, meaning this morning.
Yeah, well, he told me on the phone it was tonight. But that was one of
Tonight,
the
okay.
couple of facts that,
Were
maybe
skewed.
shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
So you had done a presentation previously.
No, he came in through our website.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Just by
I
phone.
called him.
She did a closing call.
Yeah.
right,
And then called back and did another one.
Okay.
right.
All on the phone.
All on the phone.
Okay.
And so he says that the property, he purchased it from a little old lady. The place was unwinterized for 2 years, 2 winters in a row. So he purchased it free and clear, his own cash. But when he got it, though, he found out that all of the pipes had busted. So 58 pipes
58
total.
pipes, he told us, yeah.
And his entire amount of renovation money, $30,000, went towards.
Yeah, so hang on, because you told me that like 3 times. What he actually said last night is the money he allocated for renovation.
Right.
So do you mind to interrupt?
You already did?
You're right. So when we got in the house, we found out his mom passed away and left him $150,000.
Yes.
So he had a limited amount of money. So he allocated $30,000. It wasn't like he went and borrowed the money, because that's what I was confused with. Is like
Right.
there was hard money or something like that.
Right. He could have probably borrowed hard money or something, but
Well, he had said
maybe.
that he had $150,000 from his
Yeah.
mother's death, and
Yes.
he wanted to buy this house. He paid $110 for it, and he wanted to borrow, and he had $30,000 for allocation, but he spent
Yeah.
it all on the pipes,
Yes.
right? Do I have that right?
Not all of it. If you do the actual math, because he purchased it for 110, 30,000, and he had 50,000, so that's 10,000 that he must have used for renovation.
Well, he said it was 148 by the time he got done with the closing fees. So he probably had taxes and stuff like that he had to deal with,
Sure.
because he bought it from a bank.
Yeah.
Closing costs.
Yeah, so I would say,
Yeah.
I think he said 146 or 148 or something. He was like,
Right.
but it was close enough to the 150.
So I was researching it. Some of the data was skewed that was on the tax records. The first thing is that it was showing as a 2-bedroom house, whereas when we got there, it's a 3-bedroom. We can talk
Right.
about that later.
Yep.
And also it was showing that he purchased it back in 2006,
Right.
which was so weird to me because he's telling me on the phone, I'm a flipper, and then after I get off the phone with him, I'm researching it and I'm looking, okay, you purchased it back in 2006. How can it be a flipper? It was hilarious, 12 years, right? To flip a place. The other thing was showing on the tax records is he purchased it for $257,000. And when I comped it comped for about $135,000 at a 2-bedroom house. So I'm just kind of like, this guy has got to be the worst. The worst.
And she goes on this
Flipper.
rant in the car about it, and she's like totally having a conversation with herself, and she's just laughing hysterical to the point where she turns bright red. I'm telling you, it was like this, Peter. It was like at Christmas time, the girls come over and we go get a Christmas tree. And then we kind of like, fumble around with the tree, and then, kind of like stand the tree up, and then we put lights on it, and then we plug it in. And that's what she looked like. Like I plugged her in. She turned like totally bright colors.
She's having a monologue on this.
Yeah, there you go.
She's
Yeah.
going to stand up one
Yeah.
woman.
One
Yeah,
person,
one
one
woman
sided.
And you're
show.
smoking your cigar. And what color are you?
No, I
No,
don't
there-
smoke cigars when
we
she's in the
spoke
car.
about that
you're
also.
driving with
Driving.
my wife. I have to be. I'm on a leash when I'm with Naomi. I have to
Yeah.
be careful. No
But you're driving.
no guy things are
Right.
allowed.
Well, he did manage to scratch his armpit a bit. That was a guy thing.
She told me later, I scratched my armpit during the video. Hey, the other day we were at the office, and she told me that, I said to her, I said, you're not giving me credit. At least I had a healthy lunch. She goes, yeah, but maybe you should take the stairs down instead of the elevator. 19 floors up. She's trying to get me to do
at the
exercise.
office.
Yeah.
Oh.
We got an office that's on the 19th floor. She's telling me to take the stairs.
It
I said
works
I had a
well.
healthy lunch.
I've tried that once for a couple months. It works really well.
And then she told me, I said, I got to lose. She says, you're never going to be thin, Bill, but you could get healthier.
When you get
She's
when you
hanging
get-
around me too long. She's like starting to pull bills,
No, when you've been hanging around somebody long, they stop being polite.
That's the danger.
So
So
go ahead.
how's this end?
Yeah.
How the so
Does it end?
We'll see. It might be this story. We'll see. We'll see. So we get out there. We find out it's actually a 3-bedroom, not a 2-bedroom. And also, something happened with the tax records. I don't know why, but he's only owned it for almost 5 years, not 12 years, but still 5 years for a flip. Sorry, radio people. I didn't mean to. Anyway,
And she
so
chortles. She's chortling.
the 5-year flipper.
Oh boy.
Moving right along. Part of it is he was high the whole time.
Oh no. Yeah.
He tells us upstairs in the bathroom, there's like this little, it's kind of this weird place, like where the ceiling below is like 4 feet up. So there's like, it's kind of weird. It's just like wasted space.
Yes.
And he says there used to be a tub or something. And I didn't understand it.
Jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi.
Yeah.
I don't know how it went there, but he tells us about how, because there's a
It like juts up. It's an odd bathroom. It's like this shelf where he has his pot smoke and stuff.
yeah, but there's like a skylight up there, and he would
Skylight.
sit in the sun and he would get high. That's what he told
Right.
us.
I
Sit
could
on
have
this
gotten
ledge.
a job, but then I got high.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yikes.
So
a strange
that's how you become a 5-year flipper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Well, he had to
Okay.
contemplate about it.
Think about it, and
You
then
had
it
to
just
think about
never
it.
sort of
And then-
happened.
And then, what was I thinking about, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete, you got some reality on this, huh?
I went to
So-
Woodstock. I have all
Yeah.
the reality you need to
Okay.
know.
All right.
And I made it back.
You did. You survived.
And I remembered it.
That's
good.
amazing. So, back
we
to
need
the back to the deal,
back
because
to
there
the
were
show
some
and the deal, 'cause I want to.
extremely valuable lessons
Yes.
in this deal that was just priceless. And so he was unlike a lot of the other sellers, where he was willing to work with anything, whatever made sense.
He was very motivated.
And he was completely open with all of the other offers that he had gotten. He had received $135,000 in cash offer. However, he had $25,000, almost $26,000 worth of back taxes, because
So he
once he
Bought
moved,
the house and never paid taxes
Right.
for 5 years.
Man, there's some dumb guys out there. Oh my god.
he was smart, but he was high.
Oh.
So
It kind of cancels that one out. But
So he had the taxes. A sale was coming up, so he needed to move quickly. And
Tax sale is we're in April. It was in June.
it was in June. The other thing, the place definitely still needed work. There
my
was
God.
a dog there. He was a
It stunk.
bachelor. He was such a
And he was
bachelor.
living in it. He was living in it.
He was living. Oh yeah, it was real
Oh,
lived
okay.
in.
Yeah. He
So
hadn't
the-
cleaned in a long time.
Long I
Picture
think
of his
so-
ex-wife on the wall that was gorgeous, and I could just tell that's why she left.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it was pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I went in the bathtub, and it looked like he was doing dishes in the bathtub, and all there was all cruds of food in the bottom of the bathtub.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
it was.
Well, it does
Stop
if you're
smoking
high.
weed, dumbass.
Or whatever.
I mean, he was. What if he watches this video? He said he really liked Bill, and that he.
Yeah.
Stop smoking weed.
So come on, let's
I
get
don't
So
to
take
the
anyway,
it
deal.
back.
Okay, so
I do not take it back.
the place needed a lot of work. I would say about 20,000 at least. I know you said to pretty it up 10,000.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Maybe.
Well, what I was saying is if we put a lease option person in there, we let them to do some of it, and we
Right.
could get away with maybe 10. But it was 15 would be hard. It was
Yeah.
definitely 20.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because again, he also hadn't raked the leaves. I think since he had been there. I mean, it was just year after year.
So he said that he spoke to about 25 of us guys, which
Yes.
probably means he spoke to about 5 of us. I don't think he spoke to 25. When we walked in, Peter, I've never had this happen before. Never had, it was a first for me. There was actually another company that does what we do in the kitchen with him, and he was still talking to them and said, "Come on in, I'm going to finish talking to these guys."
Yeah. Gee.
And they had this, they look
They
familiar.
had such a shit-eating grin on their
Yeah,
faces,
his
like
hair slicked back.
like they
and-
had gotten caught.
Yeah.
They were both like. I think Bill and I were pretty real. We're pretty down to earth, and these two, they looked. Have you ever
Fake.
seen the movie The Matrix?
Yeah.
You know what is it? The agent guys.
Yeah.
The
You
Asian
know,
guys with the
or
black glasses and
computer
slick
guy or
hair.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's what
They're like
they looked
robots.
like. That's what they looked like.
So they left, and we go through the house, and I'm like looking at this house, and I obviously have to make an offer, right?
That was tough. He was like, "What do you think?" And I'm like,
she's kind of
"Oh
like
man,
I don't even know what the real
bumbling
numbers
around.
are.
We don't either
Well-
because she comped it as a 2-bedroom.
right now as a 3-bedroom."
Why are
it
you
would
quoting
have
that? Why are
it-
you like,
as
is it 3?
okay? So
Because the tax roll says it's a 2-bedroom,
right,
Yeah.
but it's a 3-bedroom.
Okay.
But-
So no.
Well, is
Why
it
do
3?
you dismiss it so quickly?
Well, all right, when you sell the house, are they going to check the tax roll? Or are they going to look at the house? What's the problem?
What's the problem? What did we run into in Hamden when we had Lucy Street?
Permits.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
did he pull a permit?
Oh, so he
So
If
what's
you
going to
would
happen?
have-
So what's going to happen when we sell, and the bank who's lending money has a tax roll that says it's 2-bedroom, and they're lending on a 3-bedroom? What do you think's going to happen?
The town's going to show up. inspectors.
Something. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
but
I mean,
it's not
so-
going to be smooth.
So it comps for about 135 as a 2-bedroom, and then once you get into the
215 as a 3-bedroom.
right. I mean, and barely like there were 3 bedrooms that were kind of below that mark and above that mark, but yeah, around 215.
Right.
So it's a significant difference.
Okay, so let's get back to the show because now that's the example. So let's bring it around. Okay, so making the skeleton dance.
How's the story end?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
So making the skeleton dance.
Yeah.
This is my is the word motif right? My persona. Let's
Yeah.
use that word. My persona. Now you've been in so many houses with me. So when I don't know what to do, what do?
You just keep talking.
Just tell the truth.
Yeah, tell the truth and keep asking questions. Keep talking. Keep the conversation.
So I brought
going.
the skeletons out of the closet, and I made them dance. Okay?
Yeah.
Did I or
Yeah.
did I not do that?
Yeah, because he asked you, "What do you want to do?" And you just said, "I don't know."
Yeah. I point blank said to him, I have no idea. Because I got to tell you, and here's what I went through. Now, the only thing I didn't tell him was the thing about the 2-bedroom. I told her that in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't gotten that far because I wasn't sure how far he was going to take it. So I said to him, I don't know what I want to do. So she did an awesome job. I mean, she's been obviously been training and been listening because she did we've been working on asking the question and observing and then asking the next question based on the reaction you get. And she did a phenomenal. I mean, we're standing by the front, just standing there. We weren't even sitting down. There was no place to sit down. I mean, the place was such a mess.
It was a wreck.
Right? And it stinks.
In
And
the
the
living
dog
room,
the
he
dog
had-
keeps coming in, trying to lick our feet. And, a bull, what was it?
A
Bulldog?
pit bull.
Pit bull
Yeah.
bull.
A sweet little pit bull.
that doesn't like guys. So he's at my feet, and I'm thinking, okay, what's this dog going to do? Right? I mean, it was just kind of a strange, but that's
Right.
what happens sometimes.
Right.
So she's like, okay, so, how many offers did you get? She asks all the right questions, like, what were you thinking? What's the ideal scene for you? I mean, I don't remember exactly the questions, but she asked some really good questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you be willing? On the phone, we talked about accepting payments. What were you thinking? How did you think it was going to turn out? What was going to go on? I mean, she
Right.
was asking some really good bill questions.
Yeah.
Right. So we get to. So I'm just like watching the two of them, which is a phenomenal position to be in. Is watch two people talking, because I can observe her and him, and I could figure out the dynamic between them. Like if he's tracking with her or she's tracking
Right.
with him. I
Right.
have a. When you're doing that, it's just I think that's the best position to be in any deal.
Well, you're being objective that way. When they're they're in the middle of trying to figure out what they should say, you're watching it. And you can see
Right.
where it's going. You can see more what's happening.
Right.
You can kind of like
It's
use
like when you're
your-
thinking about it, like tomorrow, or
Yeah.
the next
Yeah.
day, but you're there right then.
It's like Monday morning
Exactly.
quarterback.
Exactly. It's kind of like being able to stand back as the observer.
It's like
and
Monday morning quarterbacking while it's right
Yeah.
in front of you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we get all done, and then I make the skeleton dance, and I say to him, he's like, well, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure. So he had one offer of cash that the guy was going to be there at 8:15 this morning with a contract for $135. The guys that were in the house before us had offered him $139.5, and they wanted 6 months to pay him off. And then while we were talking to him, unbeknownst to us, until he shared it with us a few minutes later, they texted him back and said they'll go to 143, give him $18,000 at closing, and pay the taxes off.
And the taxes are how much?
26.
26,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the first guy was 135. Would they have to pay the taxes?
Well, the 143, he would be holding the note. So they
Yeah,
would
I'm
give him
Holding a $90,000
$18,000
note.
plus they'd pay the $26,000 in back taxes.
So he's
and
got a
then he would hold-
$90,000 note for
Yeah.
6 months.
yeah. So it's, all that's included in that price.
I thought it was
Right.
for 4 months. No,
Said it was 6
That's
months,
right.
and we
it
think
was
we
6
could
months.
sell in 4 months.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're gonna they're gonna take it. He's the bank. They're gonna renovate it, and they're gonna sell it. Try to flip it fast.
Right.
Give
Now
us
I
money.
know that we're talking a lot of stuff here. So for the new guys, we're going to get to that in a few minutes. I mean, this is a
This
little
was
bit of
like
an
a
advanced,
complex deal.
This is a little bit of an advanced deal. We're going to get back to how to keep it simple. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So making the skeleton dance. So at the end, I made him a couple offers. My first offer was Naomi asked him because he's like, well, the guy only, if I got 135 and the other guy's offering me 139.5, $4,500 is not enough to make me want to hold paper.
And then
Sure.
I asked him, what is enough?
And he said 12 to 15,000. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that got a little confusing for a couple minutes with the math, because she was trying to figure the math out, because it's like, from what number, 12 or 15,000? From
Right.
35,000, from the 135 or the 143?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so she finally came around and asked the question, how much? And he said 145.
Mm-hmm.
So 145 he would carry paper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Sure. And it's
But
not that
we-
much more than what the other guys have.
No, but he hadn't gotten that offer just yet. He got that offer
Right.
via text
Oh, right after that.
very
Okay.
quickly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I came in with, okay. Then she asked the question, okay, how much time
Mm-hmm.
Because what we've been working on, her and I, is when you're making an offer, we actually did it last week in the private group,
Yeah.
which, by the way, I transcribed that, and very soon we will have that up, and you can actually, I'm going to actually sell it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a checklist of how to do this, and I give a lot of stuff away, and I want people to start getting dedicated to actually, like, doing stuff.
Yeah.
So it'd probably only be like $60 or $70 or whatever. But we actually did at the meetup, and last week in last week's private group. So if you're in the private group, which is so that's facebook.com/groups/finding deals. Okay.
Yep.
You can go there. What is it?
Groups flipping houses for rookies.
Okay, so it's facebook.com/groups and then flipping houses for rookies. Okay.
So it's the same as the other one, just had groups.
Okay, good. So if you go there, you can see what I'm talking about. So we actually laid down last week. We spent 45 minutes in the private group, and I took you step by step by step on a quick start on how to get going. And the one thing that we talk about, and Naomi and I talk about all the time, is when you're in the house, there's 3 things you got to do. You got to negotiate the price, and in that private group, we did it last week. You got to negotiate the terms. You got to negotiate the price, the payment, and the term.
Yeah.
Right.
That was actually incredible.
Right.
Because the problem rookies have is there seems to be too much to do.
Right.
And you don't realize what's 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
And then you have 5 things floating in your head. You can't think straight.
Right.
And you get confused, you get nervous, and you just back out. You do the moonwalk.
Yeah.
So when you laid things out, that helped me too, because I know the stuff. But the way you laid it out, it hit me like, oh, yeah, 1, 2,
Well, we did it at the
3.
meetup last week. We did it at the
Right,
meetup,
right.
and there was about 20 people there that got it live.
Yeah, and
And
they're
then
making notes.
the next day, I did it in the private Facebook group.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's what Naomi's doing. So she first hit the price, then she hit the which she was soft on it because she wasn't ready, but she hit the payment, and then she went right to term. Well, how long?
Yeah.
So he says, which surprised me because I'm thinking terms, it's at least 2 years. He's saying, 6 months. So I just came right out with the offer like, well, I'm not your guy. Because if you're going to write me a note, it's going to be 5 or 7 years. Matter of fact, because she's already fumbled through all the hard questions, so I come in like the hero, which is cool, but
It worked out well,
it's
actually.
good cop, bad cop.
But
So I come in and say, okay, so
You got to be the bad one.
here's
I can rock that.
here's what I think I said to him. I think I told him if you do 5 years, I'll do 155. If you do 7 years, I'll do 160. Principal only payments.
Yeah. Well, it's give and take. He wanted
But
more.
he also went
He liked
into
the deal, and he was like, I like the deal, and I'm like, well, we're gonna talk. So then we go in the other room, and I say, well, I have to make sure He's like, you guys take your time. I'm like. He's like, you can get back to me. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm in your house now. It's either we're signing documents or I'm leaving. We're parting as friends. He goes, I like that. That's
he
when it
loved that.
kind of like the conversation turned.
Wow.
He's like, I'm like,
He
dude.
liked that.
He's
Yeah.
like, dude. I said to him, dude, I've bought a few hundred houses. I'm not here to mess around. I'm either here to make a deal with you or we're out. I'm not playing. I leave here. I'm not thinking about this deal unless I buy it. That's where I'm at.
yeah.
Right. So we go in the other room, and Naomi takes out her computer, and we start doing comps, and then she gives me the number. While she's fumbling around, I decide, okay, 225 is the number I'm going to use. Because if I sell on a lease option, I can probably push it to 229, regardless of what she tells me.
Right.
So she comes back at 210, pushing
Yeah.
it at 215. So I'm like, okay, so 229.9 is a lay down all day long. It could probably be 239.9 if I do a lease option.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
There's also a question over here we need a second.
If you're doing a lease option, you don't own it yet.
Yeah. I
But
wasn't doing a lease option.
Okay. You can do owner financing.
All was owner financing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you need the deed to do the renovation because it needs something.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm
Mhm.
I'm
But you're
totally
owner
talking
financing,
owner financing.
And then lease on the other end.
Yeah.
Good.
So when I
Right,
go to
right.
sell, I'm going to sell on a lease option. Go ahead, Em.
Yeah.
Emma.
The question.
So somebody asked, how would one deal with a property that's non-conforming?
Yeah, so I haven't gotten there yet.
That's a great question. but
It's a
we
great
definitely-
question. Good
definitely
for
will get
whoever
there.
that is
Daniel.
definitely thinking right.
Yep.
Okay, so who is it?
Daniel, thank you, Daniel.
Daniel. So
Great
just
question.
hang in there
Hang
a couple
tight.
seconds, okay? So because I want to make sure we get back to actually making a skeleton dance. So here we go. So now he's like, okay, but then I stop and I think to myself, F. I say in my head, like, and swearing.
real
in my-
word. The
yeah,
real word
I'm
comes
swearing in my head. I'm like, what am I doing? So if I pay him 160, and I'm like walking around in circles, and Jesse talks about this all the time. Jesse talks about how I walk around, and you guys are talking to the guy, and I'm like walking around, and I'm like looking at stuff, and I come back, and I'm like, okay, I got the numbers.
You're doing,
Right.
you're doing reconnaissance.
I'm doing that, yeah, in the kitchen. I'm like
Right.
walking around, and I'm looking at the stove, and she's talking to the guy, and the dog's doing whatever, and I'm just
Right.
kind of like
And Bill wanders
meandering
off,
on
and I'm
Bill's
kind of like,
planet.
okay, things are going to
Yeah.
happen.
I'm
Yeah.
on Bill's planet, so I'm thinking, like, how am I going to do this? I'm like, if I pay 160, right? So okay, so the 160, I'll pull out the 26,000, so that's part of the 160 for the taxes.
right.
But then I got to come up with 20 grand, so I'm paying 180, right?
Oh, yeah, with the renovation.
With the renovation, I'm paying
And you
180.
have to get the money to
But
pay
here-
the taxes.
But
you have to
here's
pay
the
the
thing.
taxes,
But
right?
here's the thing. Well, what I was saying to Naomi before we went out there, because I kind of pulled a stunt on her in the office. I'm like, okay, so before we knew all this, I'm grilling her, saying, okay, so how are you going to buy this house with no money down?
Mm.
And after we
And-
went through the whole process,
Yeah.
she-
Because it's taxes, because there's 26,000 of past due taxes. And that was my kind of like,
you got to come up with the money.
how do you do that?
Yeah,
So-
even if you change ownership, they're not going to say, "Oh, that's okay. You start from zero."
Right.
They won't do that, will
So I was kind of like, well, the city's not going to hold a note for it. Or are they?
Yeah, exactly. So I
Are
would go to
they?
the city and just make out a payment program until I can fumble my way through it.
they? Oh, because you're buying it.
No, that we wouldn't want them to know I'm buying it. I would do
Oh.
it prior to them buying it. I would just go there and, I would tell them I'm putting it in a trust. I don't know what I would do, but I would go there and talk to them and say I want to start making payments. I'm going to manage his affairs for him, and we're going to start paying you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but none of that is bothering me at this point. So I'm at 160. So I'm thinking, okay, so if I give him a note at 160, I have to go borrow 26,000 plus the 15,000. So I'm thinking I got to borrow 40,000. So now I'm at 200 grand.
Right. And it only comps for 210, but on a lease purchase, it would be like,
But the 26 comes off the 160.
I understand, but I still have to note the property up.
Mm.
Right. So I'm like trying to figure out in my head how to do the paperwork. So it's like, do I note the property up at the 160 minus the, so it's like, do I note it up at 134? Or do I note it up at 160 and then borrow the 40? Like, how am I going to do this? Where am I going to get the 40 grand? I got to put somebody in. So I start running through it in my head, and I'm like,
This is an example of you buying houses based on the paperwork
Yeah.
and working your way backwards.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you can say anything you want. That always impresses me when you say that, because I haven't done the paperwork to think like that.
Right.
But you have to wind up with paper, and if it doesn't work,
so I'm
it's
trying to
out.
figure that out. I'm like walking around the kitchen trying to figure it out. So finally, I'm like, F it. Make the skeleton dance. That's when I made the decision. Make the skeleton dance.
Yep.
So I start with him. I'm like, okay, I made up my mind. He said, okay. I said, I think you should take the 135 cash offer. He said, what? I said, you said you got a dude coming here tomorrow with 135 and a contract. Where's he getting his money from? He's one of those rent the house guys. They buy a franchise. What is it called? One of those places.
Really?
Yeah. I
Ugly
forgot.
houses?
Yeah,
We
one
buy
of
ugly
those.
houses?
One of those
I'm not
guys
sure.
that they have a
Yeah.
franchise. He named the name of it, but it's one of those
Right.
franchise places. And what they have is when they get their franchise, they've got like $2 million worth of already injected money. That's part of them buying the franchise.
Huh.
So there's no cost to the money because they pay royalties and they get the money for free.
It's crazy.
It's one of those franchises. I don't remember the name of it, right?
Hmm.
So
It
that's
sounds
why
good,
he's
but there
making.
must be a downside to that.
Oh, there's totally a downside, but I'm not.
That's-
I don't
yeah.
pretend. I
I
don't
just
know
hadn't
anything
heard
about
about
it, but
that.
I just.
That sounds good.
I
No, it
just
can't
know
be
that it's
good.
one of those places,
Right,
right?
right.
So I said, you should
Except,
take the 135. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, to be honest with you, I'm at 160, and for me, and I go through it. For me to do it, I have to raise them because of the tax money has to be done by July. I'm sorry, by June.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I did make a payment arrangement, that's a little iffy because I can't promise you right now that I can make that tax arrangement, and I have to be done and out by 8:15 tomorrow morning because that's when the other dude's showing up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I can't go to the town hall and make those arrangements, and I'm not going to make you a promise that I can't keep, right? And then I go to okay, and then I got to worry about the renovation. Honestly, I mean, and then I want to talk about payment. We haven't talked about payment. I said, to be honest with you, I'm like, the real payment's $500 a month, but I'll pay you $700 because it's like, you know, like
you got to make some sort of cash.
I got to make it exciting for you. I said, because here's the deal. You're an effing maniac. I said to him, you're just an effing maniac.
And he loved that. He's like, yep, I am.
And I said to him, you're an effing maniac because if we give you $100,000 in a year from now, you're going to burn through that like it was nothing.
Yeah.
He goes, yep. That's the reason why I bought the house when I got my mother's inheritance, because otherwise I wouldn't have the money. At least 5 years later, I still have the money. I'm like, so
Right.
we're better off to pay you and control the money so you don't burn it up. So I'm actually doing you a favor by giving you payments. And he's like, yeah, totally.
I've seen that one before. It's true for a
Exactly.
lot of people.
Exactly.
They have their parents' house or some house they got from an inheritance, and they can't handle money.
Yeah.
And they're afraid of themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll know
right.
they'll smoke it.
So now what happens is I kind of so I kind of come around and say to him, okay, well, forget about me, because they completely take the emphasis off of me.
Yeah.
And I said to him, but I will tell you one thing that scares me. He says, okay. He said, now remember, I told you about a lot of houses. He says, yeah. He says, I can't believe how much information you're giving me. He goes,
He loved it.
I can't believe
He
you're
was
just
so
talking
grateful.
like this. I'm like, okay, but we haven't even started at this point. I said to him, I'm not knocking the guys that were here before we walked in the front door. But I'm telling you, I've sold a lot of houses. And I would never in a million years stand here and tell you I could sell your house in 6 months and maybe 4 months. I just don't see it. It's just not logistically possible. So I go through the logistics with them. I'm like, so you close, it's going to take you 2 weeks. If they do it quick, they can do it in 2 weeks. It's probably going to be 30 days before they close. They do a title search. They do
So
all
now
that
you're
kind
down
of
to
stuff.
5 months.
So
or
now
3 months.
And then even if the 6 months started at that point,
Yeah.
and then turn around and send a crew in here to do the renovation. So even if they have like 5 guys and they're going to come in here to do it in 2 weeks, I guess it could be done, but it's not real to me. It's going to be at least 3 or 4 weeks, because by the time they get things set up, and then they got to turn around and they got to sell it, and then what happens on the other end? There's probably going to be an FHA mortgage, and it's going to be 45 days.
Yeah.
It just doesn't jive. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying I would not make those promises. And they're telling you the drop dead date is 6 months. They're going to pay you the money. Unless they plan on 6 months going to refinance it and getting hard money somewhere, which is possible.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I never thought of that. Because what happened was he already had a contract with someone. The reason why we're in the house is because the person that had the contract, which we know the guy too.
Yeah.
And
he's infamous for doing this.
Yes, he's
Connecticut.
So the guy made him the offer, and then at the last minute backed out, because he made him an offer for $150,000 and then turned around and tried to get the offer down to like $60,000. like a week before.
So he gives him a great offer.
Yeah.
Says, oh, wow.
What he did is he knocked everybody else out of the box, so he didn't talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
And then he figures at the last minute before they're going to close, because he already made arrangements to go somewhere else, and he's like well into it.
Right.
He drops the bomb. Well, I really can't pay that much. No, he dropped it down to 90.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He dropped it down to 60.
And
I mean, he gave
didn't-
reasoning. He had his inspector come in and say it was $5,000 for this, $5,000 for that. So at the last minute, so he deliberated.
Wow.
It's strategy.
Yep.
Until it got right to the point where he needed to make a quick decision, or he's like, okay, I'm out of here this week, and then the guy dropped the bomb.
Right.
And
So what kind of paperwork did he have that didn't commit him to the original number? Was it just a purchase and sales agreement?
Well, I didn't ask him that, but I would assume it'd be a purchase and sale.
Which doesn't mean anything until you actually go to the close.
I know the guy that did it, and he would not do anything like I did. In fact, I used to sell this guy property all the time. And then he got banned from Connecticut. He's actually from Virginia, and he's actually working through his brother. Because I asked him, how's he doing? He's like, he's working through his brother. He says, and this dude knew that he was known for that. He says, after I do my homework later, I find out that he's done this before.
How do you get banned?
I don't know. Well, he was
Who
a
bans you?
He was a
Probably got
realtor. He had a
blackballed.
Oh, he's a
realtor
realtor.
license.
Oh.
but the thing is, with a
Okay.
realtor license, even if it's taken away, like the thing, like
Yeah,
they'll give it back to
he
you.
was in the Connecticut area, and he was just not good.
I think
Anyways,
he just got blackballed from
yeah.
Yeah.
So the point is that I say to the guy, how's he going to do all this? So we just kept talking.
Yeah.
And this is the point of today's show. Now I've made thousands and thousands of offers. You know that. I made a lot of offers with you. Never mind Naomi. And here I am. Duh, what do I do? Right? So it happens no matter what. It's not just from the beginning. So what I want to talk about is, and we're going to spend the last 15 minutes just talking about this. So we're good on the deal, right? Everybody, and no more questions then? We're good on the deal?
Well,
Okay.
Well, what is the deal?
He did want, how would one deal with a property that's non-conforming?
Okay, so Daniel, what I would do is when we got in the car, Naomi and I talked about the deal, okay? What I would do before I closed is I would go to the building department. I would go to the city hall. We call it the town hall, the city hall. And I would go to the building department and I would ask for the permits that were pulled on the house. They have a file or a folder that has everything that happened to that property. They have it for every piece of property. And I would ask to see the permits. Then I would tell the building department, and this is a little bit cautious. You have to be careful because you don't want to tip the cart if you're not going to buy the house. I only do this after I have a contract and I know I'm going to buy the house, because you don't want to rat on the customer that's in the house already. So I would say to them, okay, I have this property and it's actually got a third bedroom in the basement. What would I do? And I would ask the building department to tell me what they would do. Now, if the building department is like snarly, which most of them are, they're not usually the highest tone people. In other words, they're not the happy people, right? They're not usually that way. They're usually guys that have had bad experiences in life and failed as contractors, and they end up down there controlling in the basement of the town hall, controlling all the other contractors.
Boy, that's scary.
Yeah. And no offense to those guys if they're listening, but it's just what I have found most of the time. Okay. I would ask them, and I would get their advice before I closed.
Yep.
Because quite frankly, I think that's going to be an issue. I think that the bank is going to sooner or later. It's not something I would want to have surprise in a closing.
Right. I just did that with the Newington house because there was a finished basement and a bathroom, and we didn't know if it had if we needed permits for the bathroom because it wasn't finished. But there was an old toilet there, which was a telltale sign. When I did look at the permits, it was already an existing bathroom.
Right.
And permits were taken for all the renovation of the bathroom,
Right.
And the rest of the basement. I mean, so we're okay.
Thank goodness.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but
the
it's not
point-
it's not
the
that
point-
complicated.
The
I'd
point
never-
is to go there and do it first. Don't hide it.
Yeah,
And this
well,
is exactly the point of today's show: is make the skeleton dance. In other words, don't have skeletons in your closet. Bring them out and confront them and talk about them and get them handled before you do whatever you're supposed to do.
And it might be a good idea to have a conversation with the seller that this is what you're going to be doing. And if the building department comes back and they're snarly and they're wanting this, and this, it may affect the offer.
But here's the thing: is these two dudes? I'm positive these two dudes are putting this offer in, and they're not even.
They're not even thinking
That's
that
going
way.
to be like a surprise for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're not going to. I'm telling you, they're going to have that problem.
Yep.
And then it's going to be too late for them. They're going to have that problem in the closing. So that's why I'm thinking. That's why I was so adamant about he's not closing in 6 months, because I know that the likelihood of that happening is pretty high. Now maybe they get lucky and they don't, but I would be surprised if a bank looks at a tax roll and says it's a 2-bedroom house and they're funding on a 3-bedroom house. I would be surprised if a bank didn't pick up on that.
Sure.
Now it's possible, but I just wouldn't want that risk, especially if I'm paying $160.
Oh yeah.
And as that was a beginner home, a 3-bedroom is a beginner home. It's probably going to be an FHA mortgage where they're really scrutinizing that.
So, if you're new and you're not as complex as this deal, okay, then here's what I want you to understand. I want you to understand that we talk about calling for sale by owners. So go to Flipping Houses for Rookies /FSBO script, FSBO, B like in boy, FSBO script, and download the script, right? So it's flippinghousesforrookies.com /FSBO script. Download the script, go to Google, type in your city, county, or state, and then follow it by for sale by owners, and usually Zillow will have the lion's share of them, but get 10 houses, no more than 10. Call them and make the script. Somebody will be interested, just like this guy was.
Oh, yeah.
And you go out and talk to them. Now, here's what you do. You're going to first negotiate the price. Then you're going to negotiate the monthly payment. And then you're going to negotiate the term. Okay? I'm going to just leave it at that. Those are 3 things you're going to negotiate. What you're going to do is you're going to put your foot forward and you're going to tell him that you want to do a lease with an option to purchase. Don't do any other kind of deals. Just do that. Okay? Unless it's free and clear, then do the same thing except use the word owner finance. Okay? So it's kind of the same way. The paperwork's done a little bit different. Which, by the way, all this is in the new course that we just made, which is how to buy a house without a loan. And you can get that at flippinghousesforrookies.com. Just go there. I have not, Jesse's baby's been a week, and I have not she's been born for a week, and I have not raised the price yet.
And it's April even.
Ooh.
It's April.
March 31st
You better get on that quick.
So I'm gonna probably do it this weekend. Actually, Emma has me changing a few things in the course, and I've just been too busy to change it. So it's still at $297. I'm sure in another few more days I'll go up to the $497. So the point is this. All the paperwork, all the documents, everything you're talking about is in that course. Okay? So we get all that housekeeping out of the way. So here is making the skeleton dance when you're brand new. You know, I have a partner, and that could be me, or I have a mentor, and that could be me, and he's done a lot of houses, and he's showing me how to do it. This is actually my first deal. Could you help me? And then the default, absolutely the default is, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? You don't need to know more than that. Now, if you do, it's going to be easier. You might spend 2 hours in the house or 3 hours in the house where Naomi and I will spend 45 minutes. We were in that house 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, a lot happened in those 45 minutes.
Oh,
though,
yeah.
huh?
Totally. Okay, so I mean, that's the only difference. But if you making the skeleton dance is like you got a skeleton in the closet, just bring it out. Don't try to hide it. I'm going to tell you, I can't even fathom to tell you how many times I default to just being honest. For whatever reason, planet Earth doesn't want to be honest. Am I wrong? People, there's more, it seems like dishonesty spreads more than honesty. For whatever reason, I mean, even when I owned my used car lot, I made a fortune just by being honest. Not putting me first and making sure that the deal was right so everybody wins. And it's just, I don't even know I do it when I do it. I just do it. The point is that, like yesterday, like the story we tell you, I honestly have made thousands and thousands of deals. And I'm not even bragging at this point. I'm just trying to get you to get the concept. And I went, duh, I don't know what to do. And I said that to the guy.
Yeah. But it was beautiful. It was like magic because it was almost like he kind of got on our side a little bit. And
he thanked us profusely. Oh my God, I have not, nobody's given me this much information. I can't believe what you just did.
Well, people must think that if I hold all the cards, they think they're playing poker. Like, don't let the other person know what I'm doing, what I'm thinking.
And when you show
if
all
I
the
can
cards,
pull one over, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You made a point months and months ago, probably a year, that helped me tremendously, and it's right up this alley. You want to be professional at this. You want to be good at this. You don't want to look stupid at this, right?
Right.
So, well, you can't do it then because you don't know everything, so you can't do it. That won't work. So what does work is as you're sitting there, anytime you don't understand something, you don't have an answer, you tell them, you know what, I'm not sure what to do about that, but I have a guy who's really good at that. My attorney, my mentor,
I'll
my
find out. I'll
plumber,
get an answer.
Or
I'll
just
find
that's
out.
right. Just
Right.
you don't even have
I'll
to have a
find
gay. Just you don't have to have a guy. You just say, okay, I'm not sure. Let me go find out. Can I get back to you tomorrow?
Yeah.
Right.
And people will trust that more than somebody that's bullshitting.
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know, because nobody knows everything. It's okay.
Right.
And they'll probably trust you more because you were honest.
Yeah.
Right.
And the conversation doesn't have to end and finish. It can go on if you can't finish it.
So let's do it. Let's do it another way, because when we talked about that, we didn't actually talk about the flip side of that. So if they say, well, let's just give me an example of what somebody might say that you wouldn't know. Let's just role play it a little
Well,
bit.
they might ask, do you need permits to do that?
Okay. So you're going to say, okay, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way of doing it. Say,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I need permits. I need to go find out.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one way.
Yep.
Okay. So here would be the other way. So let's do it. So let's just
Yes, a person says, would you need permits to do these repairs?
I'm not sure, but will that make a difference to you in doing the deal?
Mm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
let's do it again.
So do you need permits to do this kind of renovation?
I'm not sure, but what would happen if I did have to get the permits?
Mm-hmm.
How would that affect you?
Mm-hmm. Right. So sometimes people will ask questions that are irrelevant or doesn't really affect the deal. It's your problem, not theirs.
Right.
And if
what do you think would happen if we had to get permits? How would that affect the deal?
Right, because they're asking it, so there's probably some reason or some concern, well founded or unfounded.
Right.
You just got to get it out of the way. So you don't avoid it. You just ask what they're really.
That's the point of the show.
More important is that's a better question, because why are they asking?
Right.
So it's not about what you have to do; it's about what they need to find out.
Or not
what they
even
need
why
to
they're
do.
asking, but why they think that the permit. So you might be saying, okay, well, I don't know. I need to go find out. So now they put a stake in the ground. Okay, so my deal is predicated on the permits now.
Yeah.
So it's and you're thinking, well, no, not really.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on two different realities now, because he thinks that the deal is hinged on you getting permits.
Right.
And you're thinking, oh, that's no big deal. I'll get around it somehow.
Right. So it's more important to observe the seller and what they're thinking and get in their world and just find out what's going on.
Make the skeleton dance. In other words, you got a skeleton in the closet. They think there's a skeleton. Bring the skeleton out and make it dance.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
So let's go on with the permit.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that the permit is a problem, right? And you say, okay, well, I think that we may, if you don't get the permits, what happens? So say that.
So if you have trouble getting the permits, what happens?
That's a good question. So instead of, what I was thinking is that if it's a real problem, I think the worst case scenario is, instead of paying you $160, it might change it to maybe $150 or $152. Is that something you can deal with?
Right.
See what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because everything is give and take. If there's a problem, it means more problem, more work, more money.
Right.
So he has to give in. And that's where it does affect him.
Right.
If his house has more trouble, or if there's more things that need repaired, it's not just your idea. It's a fact. It's the house. The next guy will notice it. Somebody will notice it. It's just something he has to deal with.
Right.
So it's a give and take.
Well, the house is what the house is.
Yep.
You did not make it that way. We did not make this house the way it was.
Right. And if everybody else misses it and you find it, well, it's true.
Right.
Yeah.
There is going to be a problem in that house. There's no doubt about that at all.
Right.
I mean, you'd be a lucky bastard. And I'll tell you what, I would try that. I would try to be the lucky bastard. Okay? But if you're going to capitalize the deal, you need to make sure that if you get caught with your pants down, you can fix it.
Yep.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the important part.
Yep.
All right? Now, for the new guys, okay, what you could simply do to make sure that you don't get stuck is make a rule. I haven't done any deals. The first 5 deals I do, I'm going to do pretty houses. So I don't have to worry about any of this.
Oh, yeah. No permits, no renovation, no.
No
Right.
deed passing, just do lease option deals. You do a slot deal, do an option deal, or do a lease option deal. Don't do subject to, don't do any of that. Just do one of those 3 deals. So if you're brand new, you can go in the house and you can actually tell the person, not right away, but as things progress, say, I have a mentor and he's done a lot of houses, which could be me, okay? And he told me this is how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And you're making the skeleton dance.
Yeah.
You're bringing it out, saying, well, I haven't done it, but he will help me, especially if you're one of my coaching clients. I tell my coaching clients this all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to be one of my coaching clients. I mean, I've only got 1 or 2 slots left, but I don't turn people down. I mean, if I have someone that's passionate, then I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you
So
are.
I can't tell you how many times I've explained how to do deals on a support ticket. I shouldn't do it, but I do because it's just me.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you're sitting in a house you could just make the skeleton dance. You know, it's my first deal. I have a mentor that I listen to and that I work with, and he says, here's how I should do it. That's making the skeleton dance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And all you're going to do is a rent to own. So all you need to know is 3 things. How much are you paying? How much are the payments? And how long is the term? And if you could straighten that out in your head and go through it that way, then you can make a deal.
Right.
Would you suggest that on the first deal, if they're not sure, just go a little lower with the numbers so it's safe? And if they don't get the deal, they've practiced at least?
Well, why would you do that?
Well,
what would the lower numbers do for you?
If they're not sure if it's right or not. Because if it's
You're talking about the comparables?
No, if it's a lease option, it's not a big deal.
I think part of it too is with making the skeleton dance is getting them on your side, and so asking them, what would you like to see? What would make you happy? And then once you know what that number is, you can work from that.
Bingo. So I say to you, Naomi, I'd like to go out with you on a date. And you're like, okay, what's your favorite food?
Then I come alive.
So you say, let's just do it. So what's your favorite food?
Chocolate chip tahini cookies from Edge of the Woods.
Really? So where do we get them? At the Edge of the Woods?
Yeah, we do.
Edge of the
Yeah.
Woods.
So
And
Do you know where that is?
I go there every day for lunch.
Good man.
Not every day, but when I'm in New Haven, I go there. I eat there
Good
a lot.
man.
So cool. So you like to go to the Edge of the Woods, which is the name of a store around here.
Yes.
It's a health food store. So
Tahini country cookies to healthy?
Chocolate chip. Tahini chocolate chip cookies.
I bought them yesterday, and she wouldn't eat them.
That's because it's Passover.
Yeah. So I would say, okay, so would you be interested in meeting me there and have one of those cookies?
Oh, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So like I said a few weeks ago, it's safe to be in the other person's world. It's always safe to be in the other person's world. So worst case scenario is just ask them, what were you expecting when I came here? Or what kind of a deal did you want to make?
Right. What would make you happy?
Or, how else would you like to do this deal? And they're always going to say, like I did it with the guy last night. What did he say? Well, I'd like to have $143,000 in cash and just be over it.
Right. Although I actually asked the question.
Yeah.
But that's when, anyway, whatever.
What'd you
I
say?
don't care.
What'd you say? What was
She
the
doesn't
response?
care. She brought it
So-
up. Let's
Yeah,
go,
I do care because I'm so happy that I did
You
it.
did. I didn't remember, but you're right.
Yeah, so I asked him, what would you like to see happen? What would make you happy?
Right.
And he said, if somebody offered me I think it was actually 145,000
Yeah.
cash, he said I would be walking and skipping out of here with a song and a dance.
Okay, so if he says that, what do you say? Well, obviously that's not real.
Right.
But here's what I can do, and
Right.
you just go right into the offer.
Right. And that's what we were talking about.
Right? Because he knows he's giving you an
knows.
unrealistic number because
Right.
he's already been through 25 guys, so he says,
So he
which is
says.
probably 5. Okay?
Right.
He already knows that that's not going to happen.
Right.
Okay?
And however, it gives you that parameter of what his trigger is.
Right.
And what to work with. And kind of, okay, well, you know what? I can do better than that.
Right.
But here's how it's going to work.
Here's the real problem. Here's the real problem, and then we'll end off. The real problem is so many people do conventional real estate that the way the real estate industry is right now is the seller is hidden behind the. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Matter of fact, I'm going to write an email on that. The Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Real Estate.
The Wizard of Oz. No, seriously, because you
Yeah.
go up through the yellow brick road and they get to this thing, and it's a guy behind a curtain, and he's like 3
Yes.
feet tall.
Yes.
You can't see him, right? It's like the
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
right? He's like, this guy's behind the curtain, and all you hear is his voice, roar, 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 right?
Yeah. Fire and brimstone.
Yeah.
And smoke.
Okay. Yeah.
And mirrors.
And you find out that he's like this 4-foot guy or 3-foot guy that's like this little wimpy guy.
That's like when
right?
a big 4x4 comes roaring down the street and a 4-foot lady comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
That happens with 4-foot men. It's the,
I
the
knew she was
shortest,
going to have a comment
the
on
shortest
that.
guys drive the biggest
Yeah,
pickups.
well, we're not going to go there. So, Wow. So, I totally distracted now. My mind went totally in the gutter on that one.
And then Bill's
She's turning red again. So,
anyway.
so the point is that in conventional real estate, the banker hides behind the curtain and you can't talk to him. So what you're used to is he'll say, well, give me your offer and I'll see if it's acceptable to the committee.
Yeah.
So we're trained that we have to give the offer. It's like how the real estate business has come about in the last 60 years since the realtors have been on board, because that's how it works, right? Which, by the way, I was talking to somebody the other day, and you know what fiat money is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fiat money means that it's the currency that you have to use because a law was passed that this is the type of money.
Yep.
So that's kind of like the way real estate is now. It's fiat real estate. It's like laws were passed, so this is that you're made to believe this is the way real estate has to be, when it really doesn't have to be that way.
Get on the treadmill.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Right.
so even though there's fiat money there, you can still do exchange. I can say to you, hey, Pete, give me music lessons and I'll do your marketing for you. We could still do business. There's nothing
Sure.
against that law,
Sure, I bought a guitar like that.
right?
Bartering. Sure.
Right. So,
I mean, if somebody owns a house, he doesn't need permission to sell his house.
right, exactly. And they don't need permission
Seriously.
to just sign the deed and just give somebody the deed over either.
Think about that.
Okay?
Yeah, I have.
A lot. So
It's your house.
So let's finish off here. So here's the long drawn out point that I'm trying to make here is that so most people believe that they have to give the seller the offer because that's the way that we're taught. What I'm trying to tell you, and I've never been this blunt with it before, but most of the offers I make are made to me by the seller. Because I asked them, what would have to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Well, give me $143,000 in cash. And you're like, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm. But look at your script. It's in the script.
Right.
The right questions are there.
But my point is that that's exactly right.
Right.
The point that I'm trying to make is that when you say, give me $150,000, $134,000, whatever it was, $145,000 in cash, that was the offer.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're rebuttaling his offer. You're in his world
Right.
and you're safe.
Right.
You're not going to he's not going to throw you out. You're not going to be upset. You're not going to be any of that because he made the first offer.
You know what you're working
And you're working with his
Parameters.
His offer.
his
And then-
understanding, his desires.
Right.
His
The other way-
parameters.
the other's like fishing, isn't
Right.
it? Like,
Right.
boom.
Right.
Just,
And it
boom,
just-
and see if he's going to grab it like a fish.
Right. It gives you that basis to start working with.
Let's look at Charles. Let's do this at the very end. We're going to go over the hour because can we put the Facebook page back up so I can see where we're at, please? What does it say? 102? Okay, so we're 2 minutes over. Okay, so let's just do this real quick and then we'll end off. Charles, one of my coaching clients in the WhatsApp group, is making an offer, right? You saw it?
I saw, yeah.
So he's making an offer. The bank,
The last one.
a bank-owned property,
Uh-huh.
right? He's in with a local bank. He's, I think, in Virginia, right? He's in with a local bank, and they're asking $39,000. So we go through the Mayo formula, maximum allowable formula, and we go back and forth. And he decides to make an offer for, I think it was 15,000,
18?
18,000.
18?
Okay, and they come back and say what? 25.
Oh, I didn't see the comeback.
They came back at 25.
They did.
Nice.
Okay. No, I did see that one. Yeah, okay.
So he's like, what do I do? I'm like, what your gut tell you? Right? So then I go back to my default. What's the default? Okay, so I got that, first of all, I want you to be comfortable with the offer. I'm coaching my guy now, right? So first of all, I want you to be comfortable with the offer, which he's not yet because he's like trying to justify the offer to me on WhatsApp. We use WhatsApp in a private group, right? So everybody else is seeing this, right? Oh, the other coaching clients. So I said, what's comfortable? But here, if you want to satisfy me, then you need to tell me what's money now, money monthly, and money later. Because when I get those three numbers, then I can talk to you about how I feel.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I haven't seen those yet. I haven't seen those numbers yet.
Oh.
So until you can mentally wrap your mind around that, then we don't know. Now, do you have to have the three-legged stool and have all those to make your offer? Absolutely not. A slot deal is money now. There's no money monthly. There's no money later. But what I predicate that on is, okay, so how much money am I making and how much time am I going to put into it?
Sure.
So if it's a slot deal, I'm not going to want to put a lot of time into it because I'm making $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever the number is. It's a quick deal. So that's why the course that we made on how to buy real estate without a loan is all about lease options and all about that, because a lot of people have jobs and they don't have a lot of time to do this stuff. So it's like, if you could do a couple hours a week, you could buy a house a month or every other month and pick up $3, $5, $10 or $10,000 or anything in between, right? So, but that's only one of the three-legged stools, because it's money now, money monthly, money later.
Right.
So you got to constantly ask yourself, when you're in the thick of a deal, how is that? Which, by the way, if you think about it, it's an insidious way of making you think about, what's my exit strategy?
Oh, sure.
Because if you know your exit strategy, you can reverse engineer, because that's what I do, because that's what I'm doing when I'm walking around the kitchen last night, is I'm saying, what's my exit strategy? How am I going to get out of this thing?
Right.
And when you figure out your exit strategy, and there's more than one exit strategy, then you'll get more confident in making the offers.
Right.
The real problem that I have with these people that are not making offers is they're not clear on their exit strategy. So if you just do money now, money monthly, money later, and keep pounding that into your head, you'll come up with an exit strategy. So it's, okay, so this deal is only money now. All right, then I need to do a slot deal, especially if the math says I got to do a slot deal. So you got the math doing a slot deal, and then, because it's 100% leveraged, and you look at it money now, money monthly. So that's where you're going to start.
Yep.
You kind of juggernaut those two things back and forth, and you'll decide this is a deal. And when you start doing that, you'll get more and more confidence. Wow, that was a lot at the end of the show.
That was a lot
it?
of, yeah.
The end.
The end.
The end.
No, it makes a lot
Maybe
of sense,
so.
though, because the numbers of buying the house and how much it's worth and all that, what's the difference?
Yeah.
The only difference is, what are you going to make?
Right.
So don't worry about, it could be $1 million if you're making nothing. If $1 million you're making a lot, or $2 if you're making, it doesn't matter.
Well, there's two
You
ways
have
to
to
make
know.
money in real estate. That's the equity and the cash flow. So if you overpay for the equity, you may not ever cash out, but you might pick up $300-400 a month
And cash flow.
in cash
Right.
flow, and then just run with it. I can't tell you how many houses. I bought a house in Southington one time that was that way. I was cash flowing like the mortgage payment was $1,600, and I told the guy the most I could pay is $1,200. He was moving to Toronto or something like that with some job that he was going from like $140,000 a year to $240,000 a year in Canada.
And it was worth it to him.
So to him, it was like, okay. So I paid $1,200. I cash flowed like I think I rented it for like $1,800. I cash flowed $600 a month, and by accident I made $18,000 on the back end. I never planned on doing that. It just kind of happened by accident, because I was happy with the $600 a month, because $600 a month times 12 is $7,200 a year for 5 years, right? So 5 years at $7,000. That's what, almost $40,000. I was happy with that.
Sure.
And then 3 years in, the guy actually cashed out and gave me $18,000. I'm like, because I wasn't worried about it. But had I not done that deal that way, I wouldn't even have that deal. Right?
Sure.
So, all right. So making the episode number 91, making the real estate skeleton dance. Worry about not telling your seller the correct thing when making an offer, or not making the correct offer. Maybe worse, pay too much and get burned later because you made a bad deal. Are you not confident in what you say when? What to say when? Perhaps looking bad in front of your seller, possibly create a total embarrassment for yourself to the point you actually blow up the deal. And I think we covered that in this podcast.
I think we did.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
We
for
buried
listening.
it, Bill.
We buried it. So we're going to go over
Buried
to
that skeleton.
private group, which you can find at facebook.com/group, groups/flipping houses for rookies. And we are going to actually talk about some more deal structuring.
Yes, we are.
All right. We're over and out. See you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.